and you're listening to Occupy the Media. I just want to tell you real quick, if you're in the California area, be sure to throw your support behind and make sure you're registered Republican, not only to vote for Ron Paul, but check out Jenny Warman at warmanforcongress.com. Also Christopher David. That's at ChristopherDavid2012.com. Both of them are in the Los Angeles area. I apologize. I don't have the district right in front of me they're in, but check out their website, warmanforcongress.com, ChristopherDavid2012.com. If you're in Missouri, greenforcongress.com. That's green, GREENE, for Congress.com. And running for Senate here in California, Rick Williams for Senate.com. So make sure you check out those websites. Even if you're not from that state, show them support, show them some love. We got to get their names out there. All right, so I was talking about the TSA. Let's go back to this article. Okay, so let's see. What was I saying? Okay, so Petty says a security officer asked him to remove a Kleenex, and $300 he had folded bills in his pocket and put it through the detector. He said, "You really want to put the bills in there?" Petty said. The officer said yes. So Petty put the cash into the fifth bin. Then he and Woodward proceeded through the metal detector. After both set off alarms, they were patted down. Then a security officer did a litmus test on Petty's clothing, which tested positive for nitrates. Petty explained that he carries nitroglycerin pills for his heart. Nonetheless, Petty was taken to a private room for yet another pat-down by a different officer while the same security officer emptied their carry-on bags and rifled through every item. Now remember, this is an old couple we're talking about leaving their San Diego from vacation. They're going back home to Detroit, and I believe one of them was a veteran, and they're being treated like they're terrorists. Okay, so it says here, "When I was patted down, I've never before been touched in every part of my body before," Woodward said. As the search went on, the couple, both widowed who met a few years ago at a bridge game and fell in love, became increasingly concerned about missing their flight. Finally, they were released and told to retrieve their belongings, but only 4 bins were handed over to them. When Petty inquired about his $300, a senior security official was called over. Petty says this officer insinuated that they were mistaken about the missing cash, instructed the two to take off their shoes again, check their pockets again. When I told him we were going to miss our flight, he asked me if I was objecting or refusing his request. Petty says, "I said no, I'd do anything I was asked. I would just like to know where my $300 went." Finally, Petty says the officer promised they would check their video cameras to see what happened to the fifth bin, and he would advise the Transportation Security Administration manager in Detroit so that they could brief when they arrived. Then came the mad dash for the plane. The wheelchair attendant literally ran the two of us by himself with both wheelchairs down to the gate, endangering us and anybody who got in our way, says Petty. "I think I was scammed," Petty says. "I would like my money back, but money doesn't pay for all the stress and humiliation." In the week since, Petty has filed a police report with the San Diego Harbor Police. He's writing a lengthy letter addressed to the Airport Federal Security Director in San Diego, and he's copied politicians, local and national, including President Obama, and he is in the process of filing out a 4-page tort claim package as required by the TSA. Nobody, he says, is giving him a straight answer. The police said they went and reviewed the videotapes, but they were too blurry, Petty says. Petty's son Bill, who was helping his father, doubts that. "You can bet if my father were a terrorist, those videos would not be too blurry." For their part, the San Diego Harbor Police declined to comment on Petty's case. Jim Faustanos, a spokesman in the TSA's Office of Strategic Communications and Public Affairs, said only, "They are looking into the case in San Diego. That's all I have for you." Says Bill Petty, "The bottom line is my dad's money went missing. Someone in the TSA or the next passenger took it. Either way, treating a 95-year-old like that is inexcusable." And it is. I mean, it's sad. It's amazing that old people, some old people can't even trust their own kids. Their own kids are stealing from them. So, I mean, it's just amazing. You can't trust anyone. The TSA's robbing people. I'm pretty sure I can definitely believe this. We already got stories in the news that TSA agents are stealing iPads. So why wouldn't they steal $300 worth of cash? That's probably better than an iPad. Get cash straight. And they don't want to check into this. They don't want to investigate it. They don't want to look into it. I mean, they're treating them like they're terrorists. This is amazing. Yeah, this is an 85-year-old lady and a 95-year-old retired Air Force major in wheelchairs. I mean, what are we coming to? It's amazing, man. This is the police state that we're asking for. We're going to get what we ask for if we don't respond, and that's by donating to Ron Paul, giving to Ron Paul. Ron Paul is against all of this. He's the only one speaking for us when it comes to these issues. Now, I have this horrible clip I want to play next. This is just crazy. The police tie up a 62-year-old man, then pepper spray him to death. They got his mouth covered. I mean, I don't even know what to say about this, man. So I'm just gonna play the clip before we run out of time. If we start running out of time, then I'll fade it out. But I'll try to get as much in as I can for you, and I'll put it up on my page, Paco Elijah, at Facebook.
We've seen and heard a lot about pepper spray lately. It hurts badly if you get hit in the face. We've seen the images all around the country. It's quite commonly used by law enforcement. Some say too commonly, though. It's supposed to be non-lethal. But tonight, Fox 13 investigative reporter Doug Smith shows us a very disturbing picture and reveals some new evidence in a story he first broke last August. It's the picture of a tourist who came to Florida and was repeatedly pepper sprayed. He died in pain, and nobody is willing to take the blame.
Nick Christie came to Florida from up north in Ohio to get away for a while, spend a little time with his brother.
He was a tourist, he was a guest, he was a visitor, he was a vacationer. A lot of people do that in Florida.
But most tourists don't end up like this, bound, gagged, and heavily pepper sprayed.
This photo is a photo of a man who's strapped to a chair naked inside of a jail cell for hours, covered in pepper spray with a hood over his face. And that evokes thoughts of being tortured.
Nick DiCello is a lawyer who represents the Christie family. This deeply disturbing photo, obtained by Fox 13, was taken in the final hours of Nick Christie's life. You can see the pepper spray dripping from his body. A spit mask covered his mouth. He was in agony. The medical examiner ruled Christie's death was a homicide because he had been restrained and sprayed with pepper spray by law enforcement officers. But nobody was ever charged with a crime, and the Lee County State Attorney cleared the sheriff's office of any wrongdoing. It's been more than 2.5 years now, and his wife still can't accept what happened.
I was shocked. This was something out of a horror movie.
Joyce Christie says her husband was depressed and showing signs of erratic behavior a few days before leaving for Florida. She called authorities and pleaded that her husband be taken to a hospital and given his medications. Instead, he was taken to the Lee County Jail for disorderly intoxication. Her lawsuit alleges he was pepper sprayed 10 times over a 48-hour period, at times while in a restraint chair. That's him in the chair in this jail surveillance video.
There's an allegation that he was pepper sprayed when he was restrained. Can you see a reason for doing that?
I cannot.
Tom DePaula spent more than 30 years in law enforcement at TPD and the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. He's seen firsthand the effects of pepper spray and knows its limitations.
The purpose is to incapacitate the person temporarily, that's the key word, long enough so that you can restrain them.
So you don't pepper spray them when they're restrained?
No, that would be ridiculous to pepper spray them while they're restrained.
Monshe Gibbs was a deputy trainee at the jail. She broke her silence in this video deposition obtained by Fox 13 Investigates. She testifies that she thought the way Christie was treated was excessive.
Christie has.
Okay, so yeah, you can check that out. I'll put it up soon on my Facebook. Paco Elijah, police tie up 62-year-old man, then pepper spray him to death. So this is what we're coming to, and the fact that no charges are being pressed against them. This is just mind-boggling, man. White people, brown people, black people, yellow people, we all got to come together, man, because this is coming on all of us. All of us are going to be a victim of this police state. The guy didn't even do anything, really. I mean, I just don't understand it. People just every day just still caring about what's on MTV and VH1 and all these entertainments and stuff that don't matter. And we need to be talking about the real issues and not just talking about it. We need to be doing something about it. We need to get out in the streets. That's why I'm trying to get everyone to get out in the streets and occupy the media. We need to be making phone calls for Ron Paul, donating to Ron Paul, watch the vote, exposing the fraud, and at the same time, we need to be occupying the media.